On the final stage of the Sunday Million, but still 6 players involved. We had deep stacks at the start of the event, and those would get closer together as AA 1284, the short stack, would chip up a little bit over the next few hands. My case, still your chip leader, the Portuguese player, and he has ace queen here, so the chip lead and a nice hand. Big raise by modern standards, and not the first time we've seen kings and ace queen do battle. It's exactly what AA 1284 needed, a big hand with action in front of him. Everybody else will fold, and AA 1284 will move in. 3, 2, 1, fold, and my case will make the easy call. Bad news for him, but AA 1284 is all in, needs these kings to hold, and doesn't look like they're going to. A huge flop for my case. AA 1284 will be distraught. He's got outs, needs to catch this river, or his race is run. Full house, for my case, does it in style. He looks like he's all over this tournament. AA 1284 is out in 6th. The German player wins $44,000. And technically, he was bad beated out, but when you're the short stack, you're vulnerable. So unlucky, but not too much he can do. 3-2-1 gentleman has the 8s. And we're making big pre-flop raises. 1.5 million to go. Thorup decides, I might have some fold equity here. I've got an ace. We're short stacked. That's good enough. I don't think he's going to get a fold, though. 3-2-1 gentleman does fold. Wow. Well, you don't see that very often nowadays. Bet fold with the 8s for that much of his stack. Thorup either has nice timing or knows his player. But gets 3-2-1 gentleman to fold the best hand there and gets his stack over 8 million. Playing 250,000, 500,000 blinds in hand 62. 5 players left in the million this week. And Jakey, who's been the most aggressive pre-flop. I don't think we've seen him had a real hand apart from the ace-king. Most of the time he's been having to go to war with not much, but making it work. And it looks like the players have adjusted for that. He's having players fight back at him a lot. But Jakey instantly shoves, and my case gets out the way. Well, some stellar stuff. He's played some great stuff, actually, at this final table, Jakey. Made a great call with the ace-king and some really good pre-flop stuff. It seems like he knows his players, knows who is going to play back at him and who isn't. Very quick to set Mike in there. Good stuff, and he's active again, opening things up with ace-9. Gentleman folds. And my case will not be deterred. Could potentially have flat called there, but decides to 3-bet and open up the betting. Always slightly dangerous against a player like Jake, because this can happen. He does stack off, and now my case will call, but is behind. You have to ask, is he ever ahead when he gets it in there with King Jack? Funny one. Interesting to see that in light of what happened before. Jakey is behind now after the flop. Well, he's played great, but it looks like he's running bad when it counts. He is at risk here. Needs to find an ace on the river, and he does. Well, a neat trick. Could argue he had the best hand when the money went in, of course, but came out as dramatically as possible. And my case gets Greenstein. Jakey, who's played really good stuff, is finally rewarded. And it's going to be hard for any of the players to stop him in this one. Really aggressive and backs his reads as well. The short stack, 3-2-1 gentleman finds, well, this is all your birthdays and Christmases at once. Short stacked in danger in the tournament. And you find aces on the button. I don't like this call from my case. I wonder if this is a bit of frustration after the last couple of hands against Jakey. 3-2-1. Oh, well, I like the call now. It's a neat trick, isn't it? Ill-advised called against short stack. Flop. Well, a really big hand. As it happens, 3-2-1 gentleman still has ways out of this with the nut club draw. Looks like a great flop for him, doesn't it? But he'll be disgusted to find out he's behind. I think he'll be a little bit annoyed that... It's one of those things, isn't it? He'll be annoyed he got action from the 5-6. Now it's turned into a flush. If you'd asked him pre-flop, He would love Mike's call. Anyway, Mike Ace is a favourite to knock out 3-1 Gentleman here. He's the all-in player. Needs to improve. 7 of spades doesn't help him. Looking for a club. That's a club. Fun rivers in the million this week. 3-2-1 Gentleman back from the dead. And Mike Ace has been rivered twice. He will not be a happy camper. The chip leader for much of this final table, Mike Ace from Portugal. But a couple of tough losses so far. And they looked tougher the way they came out as well, didn't they? You could understand if he was tilting for Europe right now. Jakey will open the button, and 3-1 Gentleman has another hand. Very short stack for a lot of this final table, but might be coming good right now. Playing 300,000, 600,000, so he's got 16 big blinds. Folds the ace-10, yikes. That is tight. My case, he's not being deterred, is he? I don't know if this is just I'll show you type aggression or whether it's red mist type aggression, but it works on that occasion. He's staying active, you can say that much. Back to second place. The chip stacks are pretty close, though, right now. Jakey is your chip leader, but a couple of all-ins and things can change very quickly. My case, well, he'll set Thorup in. It's not a bad play with ace-5, but he's run into a bigger ace, and this is a critical pot for these two. My case isn't all in, but a lot of money in the middle. Ace-10 still in front. Great spot for Thorup to double up, but he is all in. Needs to dodge, well, a 5 or a 3 on the river. And for once, the river doesn't turn the tables at this final table. Thorup's hand holds. He's up to 20 million, and Mike Ace can't buy a pot or a break right now. One-time chip leader Mike Ace down to just over 5 million, which is less than 10 big blinds, as you can see. Jakey will open here, and ace-10 doesn't suit 3-1 Gentleman. Neither does king-10. Looking for aces, really. Mike Ace is all in. And a good spot to get it all in as well, over Jakey's open. And I think he'll get action because Jakey's getting a great price to call this off. He does. Mike Ace has the best hand, but he's also all in. 12 million in the middle. And that's a good flop for him. So this could be the start of the comeback trail for Mike. 7 of spades is also fine. Just needs to dodge the river now. He hasn't been good at this. He stays not good at it. Another brutal river for Mike Ace to swallow. And this time he's got no options remaining. He is going to be out in 5th place.
Growing up on the circuit, everyone wanted to offer me advice. When to bet, when to fold, when to raise, what to wear, what to eat. But there was one piece of advice that took me to a new level.
Daniel, don't do anything stupid.
At PokerStars.com, there's a tournament starting every second. Develop your game at the world's largest poker site.
Welcome back. As promised, the online poker show free roll password is Callisto. That's Callisto. It takes place on June the 16th at 3:35 Eastern Time. We'd love you to have a free shot at the million. These 4 are free rolling in a big way. They would make a deal for most of the money. Confirmation of the payouts at the end of the show. But Jakey, LOL, is still the big chip leader. The Swedish player has played some great stuff. And it's going to be hard for the other players to stop him taking this title. They'll have a go, though. Seen some interesting hands so far, and horrible run for Mike Ace. His 5th place finish worth $57,800 to leave these 4 players. Seraph is all in. Pretty standard shove with ace-10 and a pretty standard call from the 5. So we'll have a race, which is anything but standard in the poker career of Seraph 14. And he hits. Really needed that one. Gives him a lifeline back into this tournament. Just needs to dodge the 2 outer, which he does. And that double up takes him to around 15 million. So him and Thorup more or less tied in second spot behind Jakey. 3-1 Gentleman has waited long enough to get aces. That's why you fold 8s and ace-10, you see. Aces are always coming. And he's got action in front of him as well, so this is a great spot for our short stack. Seraph opens. Jakey just flat calls. And 3-1, gentlemen. Start your engines. In goes the money. Thorpe will fold. And Seraph might well have to fold here. Yeah, he does. He's got a player behind him. And Deuces obviously is never going to be in great shape. Jakey will call and get the bad news that he's a little bit crushed here. 3-1, gentlemen, to get back in this. Decent flop for him. Jakey shouting for a 7. We'll have 3 equal stacks behind Jakey unless a 7 comes on the river. Oh, does it in style. Gentlemen, please. Just over 14 million with that full house. And we have got 3 players on around about the same chip total. Jakey now just a small advantage. But his relentless aggression would keep him chipping up against the other players. And as we rejoin the action, he's over 33 million. Once again, he's going to have to lose a couple of big flips or something for someone else to take this title, I think. He just has the edge in terms of their pre-flop play. Thorpe's decided to shove. I think this time his timing may not be the best. Seraph, pretty big call, but he has to make it. So much money in the middle and not that much money behind. He's going to get the good news that he's ahead and still ahead after the flop. Big pot for both of them. Thorpe all in, Seraph more or less all in. And the 10 is playing so far. And that 10 will also play. So Thorpe runs into a bigger ace. And the player from Denmark finishes 4th. He takes home $123,000 after the chop. Imagine winning that in your Sunday tournament. What a result for him. 4th spot and leaves us 3-handed. A Swede, a Slovakian and a German. And it's the Slovakian Seraph who has the button and a suited ace. Jakey from Sweden gets out the way. And how does 3-2-1 gentleman want to play this? He's going to 3-bet. Interesting, because if Seraph decides that he could be bluffing here and shoves, yeah, now what does 3-2-1 gentleman do? Because we've seen him make this kind of play before where he puts in a decent amount of money and then folds. He does again get out of the way, and unfortunately for him again, he did have the best hand. Seraph knows his player. Nice timing. And these two pulling away from 3-2-1 gentlemen. I'm enjoying that screen name increasingly as the show goes on. Seraph 14 in the small blind. This is a weird spot, isn't it? Because he has a hand with good value. Yeah, he does decide to just make up the blind. Interesting. It's one of those weird situations where if he raised and got 3-bet, it's just no good options for him really then. Well, he makes a pair, but Jakey makes a bigger pair. So plan B doesn't look like it's going to work either. Was a weird spot pre-flop, I thought. I think Seraph agreed, hence the flat call. He is now going to bet. Jakey will just call with top pair. Doesn't see any value in a raise. On killer turn for Seraph. Makes trip 8. And luckily for him, Jakey also has a hand. Can't see this being a huge pot, but we'll find out. Seraph will keep betting. Usually a good idea when your pair's turned into trips. Jakey will call. And the river is a king of clubs. Well, I'm not sure that'll scare either of them too much. Seraph is thinking. I guess he might be thinking. Well, no, he does go ahead and fire. I guess he's trying to think whether he makes more money if Jakey ever bluffs this card. Jakey makes the quick call, thinks his opponent is pretty polarised on that river card, and finds out that Seraph did have the monster end of the spectrum as opposed to the bluffy nothing end of the spectrum. Seraph taking control of this final table now. Over 35 million. Taking the chip lead away from Jakey. And Jakey trying to fight back in the style that's made him all those chips. Does 3-bet, but Seraph has kings again.